Hello, everyone. Good evening if you're watching from India. Good afternoon if you're watching from London. And I think it's still, I'm looking at my world clock. Good morning if you're watching from New York. We are live. I've always wanted to say those three good evening, good afternoons, and good mornings, and I've found the perfect webinar to do it in. So thank you, Sanjay, and thank you, Deepak. So, guys, we're just waiting for you to come on in. You've, of course, got Sanjay, you've got Deepak here. We're going to do introductions in a couple of minutes. Please do tell us where in the world you're from. Tell us what your occupation is. I think it'd be really great for Deepak and Sanjay to see that. We're going to be starting in... Exactly. Tell us where you are now. Let's have a look. I see Anand has left an elbow cough. I didn't know that there was an expression for an elbow cough, but now I know. And yeah, I would love to hear where everyone is from, what city, what country, what your occupation is, whether you're a blogger, whether you're a full-time affiliate. Pranay, India. India's a big place, my friend. You got to do better than that. Okay, so we've got Jedan from India, and he's a media sales professional. We've got Pune, we've got Prasanna, who's from Pune. Where are you guys from, actually, Sanjay and Deepak?
I'm from Bangalore, down south. And,
okay.
I also live at Bangalore, but right now I am at Salem in a farmhouse because of the lockdown.
Okay.
And working out of here.
It's not a bad place to be, isn't it? A farmhouse. That just sounds good. That sounds awesome. Yeah. So we got Harshit, who's from, I missed it, from, I don't remember. So we got Rahul from Bangalore. And we had one person who came on and said that you are an entrepreneur. Who was it? You got to be more specific. Entrepreneur. Oh, Tanzania. That's quite cool. Wow. Hello, Eco Africa. That's a nice one. I don't think we've had someone while I've been on from Tanzania. Bhubaneswar. Do you guys know where that is? I've got no idea.
Bhubaneswar. Bhubaneswar, yes.
Okay. Guys, I'm sorry if I pronounce anything really wrong. We've got VK Entertainment from, guys, it's going so quickly. We've got Kelly from Goa. I suspect your name might not be Kelly. We've got Pankaj Sharma. We've got Patna from India. Guys, we got a lot of people from India, which makes sense. We've got students of yours. Good for you, Nidhi, starting a new blog in a week. You're in the right place. These guys are going to tell you absolutely everything there is to know. So, guys, remember, tell us we know your name, your location, and what you're doing in life. So we've got another guy from Bhubaneswar, a real estate sales trainer. Nice. I've not seen a real estate sales trainer on here before as well. It's okay, Pink City. Yeah, that makes sense. We've got another Deepak. We've got Ryan from Indianapolis. Hey, Ryan, what's up, my friend? We've got three Deepaks now. We've got us two in here, and we've got Deepak from...
one too many Deepaks.
Yeah, exactly. People are like, people say to me, because in England, they're like, Deepak, your name's pretty unique. I was like, come to India, my friend. My name is not unique at all. I guess it's the same for all of us. Sanjay, Deepak, these are quite typical names.
Yeah.
We've got Tanoj from Pragya. Tirupati, good for you, starting a new marketing agency. This is going to be a perfect blog for you to, a perfect webinar for you to tune into. You know, these guys have done some, actually, I'm going to wait. We've got 2 more minutes before I start the introductions. So guys, keep telling us where you're from. Keep telling us what you do. We'd love to hear. Yeah. So we've got Somes from Hyderabad. Right, we've got 1 more minute before we start the proceedings. So for anyone who's just joining us, welcome. I've got Deepak and Sanjay here. We've got Valerie from Israel, affiliate manager. Brilliant. When you say affiliate manager, do you mean that you manage a collection of affiliate websites? What do you mean by manager? Quite interested to hear from you. We've got, of course, Ganishka, a blogger and digital marketer. We've got Ozzy from Fort Worth, Texas. He's in marketing. Good man. We've got Kari from Mumbai. And we've got a fourth Deepak. We've got John Deepak Gibbons from Eugene, Oregon, in crazy USA. What an amazing introduction. If you can bring that one up. Mugesh from Chennai. All right, guys. So we have come to, as promised, the 5-minute mark. So if you're tuning in for the first time, I'd like to welcome you to the show about how to grow a high traffic blog to 40,000 I believe, 40,000 users a month in less than a year without building a single backlink. That's correct, isn't it, Sanjay? That is what we're talking about today. So, guys, I'm an SEO, but I'm looking forward to being amazed because these guys have done some pretty amazing stuff in the digital marketing space. We've got, of course, Digital Deepak for those who know him, and we've got Sanjay as well. Both, have done some incredible things. So, guys, welcome first of all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us here.
Yeah, no problem at all. I'd love for you. I'd love for the benefit of the audience that don't know who you are to tell us a little bit about both your journeys together in this space, and what's led you to where you are today.
I'll probably start because pretty much everyone knows Deepak. So I started about 10 years ago, and I started off as an SEO guy, and and I set up an agency. I ran that agency for about 4 years. I did that both in Bangalore and in Singapore.
Okay.
And I did a bunch of crazy stuff while I was at it. And then I soon quickly realized that two things. Number one was that I was too early in the game for digital marketing, especially for the Indian market, because I had to educate people what it was back then, and then convince them to buy my services. So it's okay, it's too early. The second thing I realized was, I have a ton of things to learn about how to run a business, because I was not doing a great job at it, I guess. So I was okay, it's definitely a challenge. So I went ahead and joined a few startups. The first startup that I joined was the startup called as Trilophilia. They were an outdoor and adventure travel company. And that is where I truly saw the power and scale of content marketing and SEO, to be very honest. So when I joined them, they were getting about 400 to 500,000 sessions organically. And by the time I left, we were getting about 1.5 to 1.6 million sessions. So I had an absolute blast working there, and we were doing a bunch of crazy stuff there. We did viral campaigns which got 240,000 entries, and all that crazy shit happened.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, but I was maybe I just got lucky over there, because I had a platform based on which I did all of these things. So I went and joined another startup called Explara, where I set up the blog from scratch and took it to 0 to 100,000 sessions in less than 6 months.
What? Really? We should have changed the title of our webinar. How dare you?
So this is quite a while ago. In fact, one of the blogs that we wrote there in Explorer went so crazy that it almost crashed our servers. We got about 500,000 sessions in just a couple of days, and kind of a bittersweet thing to have. And then I started doing the same. Then I knew that I didn't get lucky. I had learned something which is concrete and replicable, very importantly. I can replicate the same thing from scratch again and again. Started doing that with a bunch of other startups. Then Deepak came along and said, hey man, why don't we start something on our own? And 2017 is when me and Deepak joined hands together and started Pixel Track Digital. And we've been training students, we've been consulting companies, and we've been doing a bunch of crazy stuff since then. So yeah, that's my journey.
It's a good journey. It sounds amazing. And I know, guys, if you're watching, please, by the way, ask your questions in the chat. We will come back to your questions. I want to, of course, move to Digital Deepak or Deepak Kanakaraju. Was that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Not bad for a first attempt. Not bad for a first attempt.
Guys, if you've got questions, please do ask them in the chat. I'm going to do my best effort to make sure that we, get all of these questions that you have answered. So please do ask them. But whilst, of course, you're writing things down, Deepak, I would love to hear also a little bit about your story as well.
So I'm a civil engineer. I graduated in 2008. And after I graduated,
we're both old men, that means.
Yes. So I had a job offer in my hand, but the company did not give me a joining date until 2009. So it was the recession time, right? So I had plenty of free time. And I was able to sit at home, and I did not have a pressure that, hey, go and find a job, don't stay at home, because I already had a job offer at my hand. So I was like, okay, I have some free time. Can I try to make some money? So that's where the journey started. I was interested in motorcycles. So I wanted to start a motorcycle blog. I learned a bit about WordPress. I learned a bit about how this whole blogging thing works. So I decided to go ahead and start a motorcycle blog called bikeadvice.in. So Within 6 months of starting the blog, I started getting around 2,000 visitors a day to my blog, because at that time there are so many people searching for motorcycle related information, but there was no blogs. And most of the publications that you have today were not online. I was like pretty much the first person to get online. And at that time, you had like less than 5% of India on the internet.
Okay.
So I started making around $300 a month from my blog using Google AdSense,
Yeah.
and then I started reinvesting all the money. So by 2011, we started getting around 1 million page views per month for my blog, and in 2012 we hit the highest amount of visitors to my blog on a single day. It was 46,000 visitors on a
Guys,
single day.
I have to tell you, I know that these numbers are scary because you're thinking that they're going to take you through how to build it from scratch. I want that to be important. Please stay. Don't leave and think, okay, that's just like, I'm just overwhelmed. So keep that in mind while we talk about Deepak's incredible, crazy numbers, as well as Sanjay's. They're going to talk about day one as well. So sorry, Deepak, I wanted to let them know. Please continue. It's crazy numbers.
Yeah. So I have not been able to break that record till today. So 46,000 visitors on a single day. But it was fun. I traveled a lot. I captured motorcycle launches. I was treated as a journalist, and all that was fun. But eventually, I started getting a little bit bored with the project. So I keep doing this, where I get bored with projects, then I want to start something completely new from scratch. So I thought that since I did not have a product in my hand, I could not scale this. So I went ahead and sold the blog. I sold
Yeah.
it for $25,000.
Good man.
And then I moved to Bangalore. I attended an ad tech conference. Then I started working at different companies as a digital marketer. So I worked at Practo, I worked at Razorpay, I worked at Instamojo, I worked at Exhotel. All these companies as a digital marketing manager, trying to help them as a full-time employee,
Yep.
trying to help them scale up their business. And in the meantime, then I also, again, like once the entrepreneur bites you, once an entrepreneur, you're always an entrepreneur, right? You just can't stay in a job anymore. So I wanted to start something of my own, but now it was Bangalore. The cost of living was high. So I wanted to start something on the side before I got into full time.
Yep.
So I started Digital Deepak on the side, kept blogging. But this time I knew that making money from display ads was not a strategy. So
Yep.
I went ahead and started selling courses on my blog. So I think I was pretty much the first digital marketer in India to start selling digital marketing courses. And until that time, nobody believed that India could be such a big market. So I launched a Google Ads course, made 2 lakh in revenue, then launched a Facebook Ads course, made 4 lakh in revenue, launched an SEO course, made 8 lakh in revenue, then
For
launched a blogging.
the people that aren't from India, do you want to tell them what a lakh is so they know? Because the Israeli guy might be
Yeah,
thinking, what is that?
100,000. That's 100,000. And 100,000 rupees. So 100,000 rupees would be around $1,500, a little bit less than that right now. So I launched a blogging course which made 2 million rupees in revenue, and that's gonna be around it's 20 lakhs. So around let's say $15,000.
Yeah.
Actually $30,000. Sorry. So this was like, okay, this is a lot of money, and why don't I quit my job and do this full time?
Yeah.
But I also started getting a little bit lazy with making so many courses back to back. So I said, hey Sanjay, why don't you come on board? Let's make courses together.
So that was the start of Pixel Track, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the beginning of Pixel Track.
Okay.
And we believed that as we are training digital marketing, and as we are creating Google Ads and Facebook Ads and SEO courses and all those things, we also need to practice what we preach. So we should be doing those for our clients, and not just keep teaching. Then the only digital marketing will be the digital marketing that we do for selling our digital marketing courses, which kind of becomes like, I don't know, chicken and egg situation. So we decided that we should actually get our hands dirty. We should start giving results for other clients, not as a full-time employee, but as a consultant and as an agency. So that's where we started working with a lot of good clients. We worked with Nikon, we worked with yourstory.com, we worked with HDFC. So that's how the journey has been, and that's what we are doing right now. Yeah.
Brilliant. Guys, first of all, That was within the 10-minute time frame. So you're very, very good. That was impressive. Second of all, what a great story that you guys have had separately, as well as, of course, now together for the last 3 years. You know, finally, it's of course led you, Deepak, to a farmhouse during the lockdown, which is brilliant. I just still think it just sounds wonderful in English. Where do you live? I live in a farmhouse. You're like, man, that just sounds amazing. And it's now the appropriate time, everybody, to of course find out more about the specific thing that many people in the audience are asking questions about, and you know what. I guess thinking about building a blog from scratch, you know, everybody talks about the power of link building. Okay. Now, what's interesting about this is that you said that you built a blog without building a single backlink. So do you want to talk us through what you guys consider to be the classic mistakes that you see bloggers make that maybe do install a WordPress theme, they do work hard, but they keep, you know, making errors that prevent them from reaching such heights? What are the 3 to 5 top mistakes that you see people make when it comes to building a blog of that size?
So I'll go first. I'll talk about the more technical, strategic part of things, and Deepak will talk about the consistent, the branding part of things. I always tell this to people that, you know, 50% of SEO is your keyword research. If you do your keyword research right, you just, you know, you pick your battle rights and you won. You won right there. And it's so important that you pick the right keywords to go after. Okay. And that's why I keep telling people that, you know what, and that's where the biggest mistake happens, right? So I always tell that there is like this search intent, the commercial intent funnel, where people have the informational keywords on top, the discovery keywords in the bottom, and the commercial keywords or the transactional keywords at the very bottom. Yeah. Right? A lot of people very instinctively they go for the transactional side of things, and they say that, hey, let's try to rank for, you know, SEO services in Bangalore, or, you know, buy mobile phones online, those kind of keywords. Now, there are 2 problems with that. Number one is the pool of people that are there in that section of the transactional side of things has been reduced considerably thanks to social media, because social media has hijacked all of those people, and they're getting people to like transact directly from social media, which was not the case a few years ago. You know, like buying something off of Facebook or Instagram directly was unheard of, at least in India, you know?
Yeah.
But now it is happening.
Makes sense.
Whatever is left, the pool of audience which is left, now you're competing against the big guys, right? You're competing against the Amazons and the Flipkart. Flipkart is like Amazon in India. And all the big guys are competing, which makes it so much more difficult for you to compete in. Mm-hmm. So what I always tell is go higher up the funnel, attack the informational keywords where your competition is much lower.
And is this true of every industry? Because it sounds a little bit like the examples you're talking about sound very e-commerce led, but then you mentioned the SEO services in Bangalore. Do you think, does it change based upon industry? Okay, it's the same. Okay.
It's the same. I recommend this, and we have done this pretty much across every industry, right? And it has worked brilliantly for us. So the idea is you go higher up the funnel, capture these people at the informational level, and then get them into your own funnel instead of like them going into like a separate funnel themselves. You capture them at a much higher stage, much earlier stage in their sales cycle. So 2 things happen. Your audience is much bigger, and very, very, very importantly, when you create informational and educational kind of content, it becomes so much more easier. Your content becomes linkable. So your content, you get a lot of links, and nobody is going to link you just because you have a page which says SEO services Bangalore. Nobody is going to do that, and it becomes like so much more difficult for you to go out there. But if you say that, hey, how to perform SEO for a small business, you just giving an example, you create content like this, it becomes much more linkable to you, and it becomes much more easier for you to rank for such keywords, which is what we have been doing. We pick keywords, you identify a small pocket of demand, which is much more easier to rank for, and you create amazing content for that pocket of demand, rank for it, and you automatically start attracting links, and then you start ranking for all the other keywords. And that is what has worked brilliantly for us, and I strongly recommend that everyone should do that.
Okay, guys, that was amazing advice. So don't try and always rank for transactional keywords, because it's a very small pool. You're competing against people that probably also have a lot more money than you, and it's the smallest segment of the market. And the idea is to get people into your own funnel rather than landing on your page and buying from you immediately, which, you know, more often than not doesn't happen. So that's really, really powerful advice. Deepak, do you have some other, you know, areas and elements as well that you see people making kind of mistakes when it comes to the way they build they try and build a high traffic blog?
So what I have learned from my journey and by teaching more than 10,000 students is that a lot of people, they don't focus on building a brand. They approach the entire blogging and SEO from, hey, can I make money online? And they are looking for techniques, they are looking for strategies, but they don't look at building a long-term brand which has a good brand recall, because that kind of solves most of the problems what you need to. We talk about getting backlinks. Yes, there are so many techniques to build backlinks, but now I have like more than 10,000 backlinks, and I have never actively gone out with quote unquote backlink building activity. I have never done that because I had a good brand, I had good content on my blog, and I naturally attracted good backlinks to my blog because people just wanted to link back to me. Here, it's important to talk about personal branding because it's important to have a very strong, consistent story of where you are, who you are, have an authentic story. So that helps a lot. And another mistake that I see that people do is that they never start with a product. Unless you have a product and unless you have good copywriting, unless you have good sales and conversions, you are not going to generate enough revenue to create that content that will rank on the search engines. You can only write so many articles yourself. You could outsource articles, you could get content writers on board, and you could basically scale up your SEO if you have the revenue for it. And the revenue is going to come from your product and having a great product market fit. And this is more of talking from the startups and business perspective than from an SEO perspective. I see that SEO is like, one of the biggest accelerators of your brand and your product, but you need to have a product. Like, SEO can be the fuel, but the product is the car. So you need to have a product where you are combining a good product with good fuel, which is good SEO, and then it scales up. So that way you will be able to basically invest more in content creation. And as Sanjay said, if you want to create articles related to transactional keywords, or let's say the top of the funnel keywords, you can't just keep writing it yourself. So why don't we start with understanding what is the market need within a particular niche, creating a product, and then trying to get the product market fit. And initially, if you just want to use paid advertising to get the product to the market and start generating the initial sales, it's fine. However, in the long term, you can eventually get it into a very strong SEO game. But come on, SEO, yes, it is free traffic, but nothing is free in this world. You still need to invest time, money, and energy in creating content. And where are you going to get it from? And how are you going to monetize the traffic that comes to your site? You need a funnel. So yeah, that is the mistake. That so people don't look at the bigger picture. They don't look at the 10,000 foot view, and that's what I would tell from my perspective.
And that's really interesting, isn't it? Because you talk about, I mean, there's two things here. There's one, keyword research and looking at the top of the funnel is huge, right? Number two, the other thing that, and this is across industries. This is whether it's product, this is whether it's service, this is whether it's affiliate, right? And then the other element that you've spoken about, Deepak, is the space of building a brand, which is an interesting thing that seems to be coming up a lot more. There was recently a webinar for SEMrush about Eat, and Jason Bernard talks a lot about the power of building a brand. In your view, Deepak, briefly, because when you say building a brand, what do you mean by that? Because there's going to be what do you mean by that? First of all, I guess is my first question.
All right, so I would like to take Jeff Bezos' quote here to give like a broad angle. I'll go into the specifics as well. So brand is basically what people talk about when you are not in the room. But apart from that, brand is basically how people perceive you and how people position you in their mind. So right now, today, SEO is a category. And who is an SEO expert in India? So Sanjay comes to mind. Who is the digital marketing expert in India? Maybe I come to mind. And that, so it's about the mind share. Are you occupying a space in people's minds when they are able to think of something? It's not about the market share. So if you think of, let's say, luxury cars with pure driving pleasure, driver focused, you would think of BMW.
Yeah.
If you think of a luxury car where safety is a priority, you would think of Volvo. If you think of men's razor blades, you would think of Gillette. So these things occupy a position in your mind.
Okay.
One of the ways to occupy this position is that you don't try to be too generic, and at that time in a market, you pick a position which you feel that you can be the category leader in, because people always remember the number one. Like, for example, if I ask you who was the number one person to land in the moon, then we would say that it's Neil Armstrong. But if you ask who was the number two, then nobody remembers, even
Yeah.
though his achievement is almost as significant as the number one. So I would say that brand is basically, whether it's a product or in this case we are talking about a personal brand, what comes to mind when you think of a particular category? Just go and dominate that category. And these categories subdivide over time. If people feel that, okay, certain categories are crowded, okay, SEO is crowded, subdivide SEO. You can divide SEO into SEO for e-commerce, SEO for automobile companies, or SEO for so many different things, right? SEO for let's say information product creators, trainers. I'm an SEO consultant for this. So how are you going to subdivide yourself within a particular niche? And you can say that, hey, I'm a digital marketer and I'm only going to focus on, let's say, the healthcare industry. I'm a digital marketer who helps, let's say, doctors generate leads online and get conversions online. I'm a digital marketer who is going to help private detectives in the country to do digital marketing. So if you feel that, let's say, digital marketing as a category in a particular country is already taken. I basically focused on India because when I started, I felt that in India there was like no well-known digital marketer who has positioned himself. In international, you have so many names, but in India, when I started, there was not much. So I hopefully am able to retain that position. But now, let's say, who is the Facebook ad expert in India? No one comes to mind. Who is the analytics expert in India? No one comes to mind. I feel that there are so many opportunities still there, and obviously get a mind share within these categories, you have to go ahead and sacrifice some of the other categories, right? You can't be everything to everyone. If you try to be everything to everyone, then you will be a no one. So that's branding for me. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense, and I think that choosing to niche when it comes to your brand and building amazing content in combination with niching is it's a mistake that I've made when I first started Pearl Lemon as an SEO agency. We were just it's the classic mistake that I'm sure people in the audience and many digital marketers do. So I'm an agency and I sell SEO or I sell Facebook ads. You're like, it's quite a broad category now, especially if you're talking worldwide. And then, as you said, in India, there's still some niches where at a national level, people are still, not sure who the expert is. So what I want to do now, guys, I know you've been listening. I want to jump into some of the tactics and specific strategies because there's a load of questions that we got here. What I'm going to do is start going through a couple of questions that we've got here. So practically speaking, Edmund Lal, if you can bring him up, Anton. Edmund has asked, how many blogs a month is the appropriate number of blogs to generate leads? And let's call a lead a click in this instance. So how many blogs per month is a good amount to write or to have produced by, an outsourced writer?
Can I take it?
Let's go to
Sure.
Sanjay. I'm gonna lead this to make it easier. Sanjay, you're up.
So I think it's a very wrong way to look at it. Like, it's not
Edmund,
about how
you're wrong. Continue.
I'll tell you why you're wrong, Edmund, and it's okay to be wrong, and we'll all learn. That's how we learn. So, to look at it saying that, hey, how many blogs can I write? The focus shifts away from creating value to just creating content for the sake of creating content, and that is absolutely terrible way to go about it. Be it social media, be it SEO, be it anything, right? Your focus should be on creating value through your content, and if that means that you create just one blog per month, you're still good to go, right? And you can create one really lengthy, beautiful, value-driven blog, and you're absolutely good to go. And that kind of brings in this thing, which is why I always tell people that content is not about creativity, it's about utility. the more useful, the more practically useful you make your content, the better it is. And sometimes it takes time. You really need time to like get down and like get your hands dirty and like articulate it in a way that can provide value to people. And it's fine if you think that to start off with, you can do only one blog, say a month or a week or whatever it is. It's absolutely fine. It's like I always use the analogy of like hitting the gym, right? You just don't go show up on the first day and try to do a 100-kilo bench press. It's stupid. You'll throw your back off.
I've got a question for you, because I
Yeah.
think that's excellent advice, right? I really think that quality, of course, over quantity is huge. I think there's a lot of people in the audience who are like, I'm going to do quantity and I'm going to do quality or whatever.
Yeah.
What is a good example of a blog that you've seen rank, or a blog that you've been involved with, where they've only done 1 or 2 blogs a month and they've still ranked incredibly well? Are there examples that you know of? Because I'm curious to understand, one, if there's ones that you can think of, but then also two, in the examples that you spoke about, or some of the students that you guys have got, at Pixel Track, are there some good examples of Deepak? We've seen blogs that do incredibly well and they're only posting 2 blogs a month.
One of the case study that I'll probably eventually pull up later on, the blog, the client that we worked on, which we got about 40,000 sessions per month, we just wrote 2 blogs a month for them, to be very honest. And we're getting, which is like a blog every fortnight, every 2 weeks, which is not a lot, right? Which kind of goes against conventional wisdom, would say that go ahead and write like 300 blogs a day or something like that, and try to like rank for everything and get it. But we're like, what, let's just focus on 2 high quality blogs every month, and 2,000 to 3,000 words, custom graphics, custom everything, and just create beautiful blogs. Just keep doing it for a consistent period of time. And that is the most crucial part. It's not about how much can you pack in a week or a month or something like that. It's about how long can you keep doing that. And that is, you need to allow it to like compound. The results needs to compound. And a lot of people just get caught there 2 months in, they're like, you know what, I'm not going to do it. It just doesn't like work like that. You need to do it consistently for a long period of time for you to like see the results compound, and kind of like, the blog posts kind of help each other out and then start ranking. And so if you plot the input and output, it kind of like goes like this. This is your input, this is your output. It goes like this, and then the output just like the hockey stick growth that you see eventually.
Okay. No, amazing. And I can see that Deepak is thinking of about 3 or 4 blogs in his mind where he's like, I saw it happen here, I saw it happen there, I saw it happen there. So I'm gonna come to you, since you're smiling, about another question that we've got from Ganishka. So Ganishka, I think you've asked a really good question. It's something that some bloggers struggle with. It's a bit of a different question. So Ganishka Digital Blogs asks, what are other blog monetization strategies apart from AdSense? Could you talk through some examples that you see that are consistently effective? We know, of course, that Amazon recently cut their commissions, so a lot of people in that space are like super worried. So it'd be good to kind of get an answer to first the question about what other strategies are there apart from AdSense. I'll ask you that question, Deepak, and then we'll come back to you, Sanjay, and we'll ask you to comment upon briefly the Amazon kind of AdSense, the Amazon affiliate space. So Deepak, first of all, what are your thoughts about other monetization strategies?
Yep. So before I get into that answer, just one line answer for how many blogs you need to write per month. It depends on the topic. Think about the particular topic and think about how many blogs per month you would want to read. That would be the same amount of blogs that you might want to write for your reader. So if it is like a news-based one, then you might want to write 1 per day. If it is something like you are learning about some topic, how much do you want to read? What do you want to read? So that kind of answers that question. When it comes to monetization strategies, I feel when you look at the whole blogging thing as a money-making method, I think it's a very wrong way to look at it. Blogging is a marketing method for your product or your service. So when you are just blogging and when you don't have a product or service, you are able to monetize that blog by putting the ads of someone else's product or service, in which case it's AdSense is one thing where someone else advertise on your site. But when you look at Amazon affiliate also, even affiliate marketing to some extent is that you are promoting someone else's products, which is still fine. But the problem is that the funnel will always have some leak because you lack credibility. However, if you have your own product or service and use blogging and SEO to bring traffic to your own product or service, then that is going to be extremely effective. And in this case, I would recommend that create a digital product. The digital product could be an app, it could be a SaaS product, it could be a tool, template, calculator, or it could be an information product like a course. So that way you are able to monetize the amount of content that you are putting out in the blog. And I don't think unless you are in a market where you get like thousands and thousands of visitors, AdSense is not a good strategy anymore. I stopped using AdSense in 2012. It has been 8 years since I moved away from the AdSense strategy. Yeah.
Okay, no, brilliant. I think that's fantastic. And then would you, well, actually, no, I'll come back. I've got more questions, but I want to stay honest. Sanjay, what is to follow up to that, your brief advice for the Amazon affiliate guys who are thinking about their blogs and they're super worried now? What would you do if you were an Amazon affiliate owner who's built a model around that?
I'll just like take a step back, zoom out, and help people understand how to approach this whole thing. See, the attention is the commodity here, right? We are attracting this attention, and your job is to convert that attention into a transaction. And if you're able to convert that attention into a transaction very effectively, why do you want to take a cut of it? Just take the whole of it. That's the whole idea behind it. So, which is why trying to rent out attention in the form of Google AdSense or try to take a cut in terms of Amazon affiliate websites, it's not a great long-term strategy, but it is a great strategy to understand your market, right? And you set up an Amazon affiliate website. Say you're talking about, I don't know, barbecue products, barbecue grills, or whatever it is, right? You set up a barbecue grill website. You're talking everything about barbecue grills, and you're selling Amazon barbecue grills and all of those things. Now you understand what the market is all about and what people are looking for, and then you really need to replace Amazon's website or Amazon's links or that monetization strategy with your own product. Or you can, like Deepak rightly said, you can just put in a digital product out there. How to make the best barbecue grills ever, something like that. Make a digital product like that and monetize it like that. Because if you are able to convert the attention into a transaction, I would not want to leak that transaction to other people. I would just might as well keep everything to myself.
So the advice is then, guys, if you're watching, the so the first thing with the monetization strategy is that AdSense and affiliate Amazon isn't great long term, because the commodity that you're trying to build is attention, and then if you've got attention, you should try and generate the transaction right into something that's a product of your own, whether it's a real world physical product or if it's a digital product.
Or even a service for that matter. Sorry to
no, brilliant.
Service. Even a service for that matter.
No, it makes complete sense. It makes.
Sorry, just one more thing.
No, tell me.
Yeah, the reason why it is so important to, when you're converting that attention into transaction, like Deepak said earlier, once you start doing that, you should be able to use whatever you make from the transactional part of things and invest it back into attracting attention. So you need to keep that engine going on. And if you're not getting that enough money, you'll not be able to invest back into attracting that attention, which will not get you enough transactions, and then you're pretty much dead. So if you get enough money to invest it back into attracting attention, then you're pretty much sorted.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes complete sense. So Anand, I know that you've asked a lot of questions. You even said, "Can you feature me?" I think so. If you could bring up any of Anand's questions, just so we can see. So a question he's got is, he wants to talk about growing traffic. Okay, so let's talk about the nuts and bolts. I have got a barbecue area that I want to focus on, right? I've just installed my WordPress theme on WPX hosting. I've got some keyword research done. Sanjay's told me about the keyword research. Educational is where I should start. And yeah, great. We're gonna take that question as well. And I've decided that I'm gonna post 4 blogs a month, 1 a week. How do I actually start growing the traffic? How can you grow traffic in that example? What are the tricks of the trade, or what do we do? Deepak, if you could take that question to begin with.
I think Sanjay would be a better person to answer this specific question.
Perfect. So Sanjay, let's have you answer that question. I'll come back to a different one for Deepak.
So you need to look at it you need to balance out your traffic profile, right? You cannot be overexposed to a single source of traffic. Yes, to start off with, you start off with SEO because it's free, number one. It's great to like understand what people are looking for and all of those things. And most importantly, I always tell people the queries that people put into the search engines are the problems that people have. And what you're trying to do is you're providing solutions in the form of content. So that helps you understand what your users are looking for, what kind of problems they have, and all of those things. So you use SEO as one of the attraction mechanisms. And once they come in, you need to see how you can make them come back again and again. So that is how you grow your traffic, because you can't just keep on pouring more water on top. You need to figure out how to store the water, or basically retain your audience. And a fantastic way to do that is by building an email list, right? Because that way you're absolutely controlling where your traffic is, or you're controlling your audience and basically saying that, hey, you know what, every time you publish a content, you send out that piece of content to your audience. And because your existing audience is already interacting with that piece of content, you will actually rank better for that on the search engines also and start attracting more traffic. So like this, you need to balance it out across different sources. I would, if I were to like take the example of the whole barbecue thing, so the number one thing I would do is start off with SEO. Then I would start building an email list, and I would start redirecting them to my social media channels. And then probably I'll hijack Quora also, because Quora is like pretty much like there are so many questions on Quora. I'm pretty sure on barbecues also. And I'll try to get in there and try to hijack the traffic. And Quora ranks really, really well, especially for the informational and education kind of keywords. So I try to get in there and try to rank my answer within Quora, so that everyone who, and I always tell people, that's the easiest hack to get number one ranking for any keyword.
They were asking for traffic. So there was people asking. Navin, if you come up onto the screen, it's like you read Navin's mind, Sanjay. Navin was asking any specific tricks of the trade to help me take off. So it sounds like Quora is a good trick of the trade to take off. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just like look for Quora questions for your keyword. Go out there, answer those questions, and try to rank within those questions itself. So whenever people land on that questions, they can just get redirected to your blog.
Brilliant. So let me switch now to Deepak. That was really, really insightful, Sanjay. What are your 2 to 3 to 5, as many as you want, really, tricks of the trade that are perhaps things that people don't always think of when they think about ranking a blog? What are any tricks that you could talk about, that you could do this, you could do that, and I'm surprised that not enough people do this?
So we keep talking about keyword research. Yes, there are so many tools to do keyword research. You could use SEMrush, and you could use a number of other techniques to do keyword research. But one technique that people don't always use is to find out what people are actually asking for, because that is going to give you out of the box ideas. So what I recommend everyone who have an audience is that you put the audience in a community, and it could be a Facebook group. So we have a Facebook group, and go ahead and basically ask random questions on the Facebook group. Hey, what do you need help with? Where are you getting stuck? And people are going to answer. And you pick one answer out of it and try to create questions around that answer, and you will get into deeper answers. Like, for example, let's say I ask a question, hey, what are the challenges when you are going to start a blog? Somebody is going to say, how do I set up WordPress? How do I do keyword research? How do I choose a niche? Okay, so I take choosing a niche as one subsegment, and then I go ahead and say that, what are the challenges you are finding when you are choosing a niche? So here people will say that, hey, I feel that all the niches are already crowded, which is a misconception, because I feel there are so many niches yet to be tapped. So then my next blog post idea could be 100 different untapped niches that you can still tap into, or 100 different hot niches for 2020. So you have to like keep asking, break it down, and then yes, you can refine with keyword research. But keywords are basically what? It's the words that is running on people's minds. It's the question that people have in their mind. It's not just the words that they enter on a search engine. So go a little bit deeper and go ahead and try to get out what's on their mind, rather than trying to get out what they are typing into the search keyword. So this is one mindset and a technique to go ahead and find out a lot of new content ideas. So So what another trick that I do is that earlier Google used to provide what keywords people are searching for in analytics, but now they don't provide anymore. So people are like, okay, Google has put it as not provided. No big deal. Go ahead and run Google search ads. So if you run Google search ads, even if you bid very low, even if you don't get clicks, you are still going to get a lot of impressions. And if you go ahead and look at the search terms report, then Google Ads is going to show you exactly what people are searching for when your ads are being displayed. And this can also be done with dynamic search ads, where you are basically putting your entire site as every content piece in your site becomes an ad copy in itself. So you can try dynamic search ads. So basically Google starts ranking your site on the paid search results for almost every keyword that people are searching for. So here you can get a lot of keyword from Google Ads itself. So another area that people don't look at much is Google Search Console. So what happens is that sometimes your article shows up for random keywords for which you have not even tried to rank, and your blog shows up. So you can find those keywords inside Search Console. Like for example, I started observing that I'm ranking frequently for the keyword Digital India, and a few more keywords related to digital. But I have never written articles about it, never targeted those keywords at all. But if my site can show up as an impression or get a few clicks for a keyword for which I have not targeted, which means that if I write an article targeted at that keyword, it has a very high likely to rank, because Google thinks that my blog is already related to that. So that's why the clicks are coming in. So go ahead and look into the data. It's a little bit inconvenient and uncomfortable to spend time looking at analytics and data and reviewing spreadsheets and going by line, but that's the price you have to pay with being a good SEO. So
I love it. I love it.
there is always going to be a lot of time. You keep postponing.
Yeah.
You like just sit and make it like a daily routine. Even if you don't have any idea what you are going to do, just go ahead and stare at analytics, stare at Google
Guys,
Search Console, stare at
you hear
Google
this?
Ads, and keep looking at the numbers.
Straight from the farmhouse. This is what you must
Yeah.
do. Dynamic search ads, Google search ads, Google Search Console. Look at what you're getting impressions for. Look at the core root of what people actually want, and then produce answers they're looking for. So I think that was amazing advice, Deepak. And I wanna keep going. Sanjay, I want to keep going with So Navin, you said thank you for answering the question, and I looked at your other questions that you had, and it was a pretty useful one actually. So we're going to continue with this barbecue example because we've started it. So a question that Navin asks is, I'm a beginner and I want to make, and if you can find this, Anton, you might find it. It's Navin's first question. I'm a beginner and I want to make a business in affiliate marketing. If I had a barbecue blog, he didn't say that, how long will it typically take for me to start earning at least 1 lakh per month consistently? Here we go. We found it. So Navin's got a really good question that I think is on every blogger's mind. As much as we say, don't think about that, it's what every blogger wants to know. How long will it take before I start earning money? Given that we're only posting however many blogs we're posting a month, we're not sure. It depends. So Sanjay, I'd love to. It's a difficult question, but I'd love your thoughts on it, my friend.
It's not actually, because what people make a mistake is, the first thing that you need to figure out is whether in this particular niche you can actually get to 1 lakh per month, right?
Yes.
You know, if there is enough search volume out there, if there are enough people looking for all of these things, all of these kind of questions out there. Because if there are not enough search volume, say there are only 200 people looking for anything related to barbecue, it's going to take you forever to get to like 1 lakh a month, right? You know, like 1 lakh is 100,000 rupees for people who don't know.
And what's that in US dollars? People will probably understand.
$1,500, about $1,500. So you need to first figure out how much is there enough demand for it. So you are actually fulfilling demand, right? When it comes to SEO, you're actually fulfilling demand. So you first need to figure out if there is enough demand for it. I will give you a very simple napkin calculation that you can do. So I always tell people that, hey, go out there, do your keyword research. Say you get about total for all the keywords that you went and looked for, you got about 10,000 searches coming in for every single month. And you can conveniently say that if you rank number 1 for all these keywords, let's assume that you are going to rank because you have attended this webinar and you're going to like take all the learnings from it and apply for it, and you rank for all of those keywords and you go number 1. even if you're at number one, the click-through rate is about 30%, right?
Yep.
On a good day. Yep. So let's be optimistic and say 30%. So you're going to get about 3,000 people coming on to your blog. And from these 3,000 people, say, again, being a little more optimistic, say you're able to convert about 5% of those people into actual customers, which is about 150 people.
Yeah.
Do you think you can extract 100,000 rupees or $1,500 if you're getting 150 people? You need to extract $10 from each of these guys, which I think in the barbecue example is possible, right? So you can do that, but for that you need to get to 10,000 or 3,000 traffic coming in, and you need to attack about 10,000 search volume keywords, which might take you about, I don't know, 10 to 15 articles, which might take you about good 3 to 4 months just to write it, and another 3 to 4 months to like actually rank it. So I would give it any SEO project that I go after, I would give it good 6 to 12 months. That is the kind of approach that you need to take before you start getting the kind of money that you want to see. But before you do that, you make sure that there is enough demand for it.
Guys, this is an amazing answer again from the Deepak and Sanjay show, the Pixel Track show. Pixel Track, guys, if you want to go and get some digital marketing services, these are your people. So I think that that's really good advice. So 6 to 12 months. That's how long you should treat an SEO project. Start looking at the 6 months plus mark before you start generating an income. Basic is what I'm hearing. Yeah. This is assuming you've done your keyword research, you have thought about the informational content that you're going to produce, and that you're consistently posting. And it also is the case that you're beginning to try and build and hijack traffic from Quora, was one of the other platforms. Very quickly, are there other platforms that you recommend that people should try and hijack traffic from? You mentioned Quora. Are there any others that you two focus on in terms of your marketing mix?
So what I always tell people is that set up Google Alerts for like the top 10, 20 blogs which are in your industry or in the related industry. And every time they post a blog, immediately go there and post a comment. Very insightful comment over there. And if you're like the number 1 or number 2 or number 3 content, you start getting a lot of traffic from that content. Again, that's a way to hijack a little bit of traffic from related things. So set up Google Alerts. So the moment a new blog has been posted, it just gets the notification, immediately jump in and just post like a very insightful comment over there. Again, a very good way to like hijack some traffic from other blogs. Okay, brilliant. So Google Alerts, guys, if you're listening, that's another good, cool tip and trick. So I want to come back to you, Deepak, now. It's a good question that I've kind of seen been asked by a couple of people. They're thinking, well, you know what, Sanjay, you know what, Deepak, I don't have a product of my own. I don't have a service, so I'm going to start my barbecue blog, okay? So I've got a barbecue blog now, and I'm getting 10,000 visitors a month, and I'm selling a third-party product. How do I what do I do with this? Do I just get rid of it, or do I build an email list? But then what do I email them? Do you want to talk briefly, Deepak, about your ideas around that and what you would do if you were the owner of this barbecue blog, or you just inherited it from someone?
So first, I would build a community and try to find out what the people need. So one of the easiest ways to kind of come up with a digital product is something like a paid community. You can say that, hey, this is going to cost a one-time fee of $49, or you can pay like maybe $10 a month, and you will be part of the community. Maybe if it is a barbecue blog, if so many people are already visiting a barbecue blog, which means that they have questions in their mind, and people always want forms of content. If the same textual content is delivered in a video format, if there is an interaction by the blogger with the audience, people are always going to be ready to pay for it. So when I got started, I had the same problem. I had a lot of traffic. I had 25,000 subscribers, but I did not have the product. And one of the reasons you don't have a motivation to create the product and put a lot of effort in creating the product in the first place is that you don't know how many sales are going to come in. So in that case, what I did for my blog was that I said that, hey, I'm launching this product next month. If you want to pre-order it, you can pre-order it right now for 50% discount. So my calculation was that if I don't even get, let's say, 50 sales, I'm going to cancel the project and refund everyone, which is going to be completely fine. And if I get more than 50 sales, then I will sit and create the product because the demand is already there, which is proven. So when I announced my first course, I ended up making 250 sales. So that was 250,000 rupees on the blog, which was almost like $3,000. So that way, if people are coming for content which is in the text format to a blog, I am pretty sure that people are going to want to buy an information product as well, no matter what niche that is. If it is a travel blog, people might want guides related to travel. If it is a cooking blog, people might want a cooking course. So there is always a way to monetize the traffic using an information product. So basically what you are doing is that you are doing gated premium content, and when you give things for free, people just don't take it, don't see the value in it. When you charge for it, then people see value. What usually happens is that when you sell something like a digital product, then that's where you start scaling. So I recommend that there is pretty much no topic in the world where you cannot sell an information product.
Okay, amazing, guys. So there's no, I like that. There's no niche in the world where you can't sell an information product. So guys, no matter what industry you're in, if your SaaS tool is going nowhere, just start selling information products instead. But you know, this you can figure out whether it's viable or not by building a community and asking your actual users questions. So we're coming up to the last 5 minutes. I want to do a round robin. So I'm going to be asking questions quite quickly, and I want answers just as quickly as you can, so I can answer and go through as many questions that we've got here. So the first question, going to Sanjay, what startup capital would you recommend for someone who wants to start and build a high traffic blog over a 12-month period? How much money do they need in lakh or US dollars?
$20. Just get yourself a domain name and get some hosting and get started. That's it. That's the startup capital you need. And just go out there and create content. That's the only thing that you need to be focusing on. Create content.
And what if this person is too busy to produce the content, so they get someone else in? What's a good amount of capital to spend where they're saying, I don't have the time to do that, or I don't know enough about barbecues or LinkedIn or whatever it might be?
Mm-hmm. So I would say about $400 to $500 every single month. That should get you started. And then eventually, when you like keep scaling up, I mean, you can start much lower also. I always say that, go the MVP route. Just start with one article if you have to, see how things are, test some waters, and then you scale up. So a very good place to start off with in terms of money would be $300 to $500 range.
Okay, perfect. What is the Deepak? So $300 to $500, guys, a month if you're outsourcing or you've got a team, and then if you're doing it yourself, $20 blog WordPress install. Deepak, what is a good word count length for a piece of content?
I would say that write at least 2,000 words, and you can go up to 5,000 words. So that's what I usually keep at. You could write 700-word articles as well, but 2,000 words article will always outcompete 700-word article.
Perfect. So guys, 2,000 to 5,000 words is a good length for content. And then the next question I've got for Sanjay now, and I want to scroll through basically some of the questions here. Let's see what. Okay, so we'll ask a question that Anand talks about. Do you decide a keyword or a series of keywords per article? Do you have one focused keyword, or do you look at lots of long tail? How do you decide which keyword for which blog?
I always look at like a cluster of keywords. Never ever optimize a piece of content for one single keyword. That's a terrible way to go about it. You need to get the topical depth. Like I said, if you want to create about 2,000 words or 2,000 north of 2,000 words, you need to have enough topical depth, and for that you need to be targeting at least 10 keywords and even beyond that also.
Okay, brilliant. That's a good idea. That's a great idea. And then when you're deciding to build in a new niche, do you then do everything from scratch, find a domain? Do you do anything with expired domains or any of this kind of technical stuff? What's your advice on, I'm going to start in XYZ niche. Let's just say the barbecue niche again. what's your thought process? Deepak, sorry, because I've already asked you, Sanjay. What's your thought process on how you decide on the domain, how you decide on how many pieces of content to write? What's your thought process around that?
So my recommendation for a domain name is that it should be less than 10 characters, ideally a .com, and it should pass the phone test, which means that if I am telling you the domain name over the phone, then you should be able to type it out without any confusion. You should not be asking me, hey, how do you spell it? So do not replace S with Z. Do not play any name tricks on the domain name. Absolutely not recommended. So if I tell you digitaldeepak.com, you'll just type digitaldeepak.com. If I tell you semrush.com, you'll just type out semrush. So no hyphens, no numbers, nothing of that sort. Yes, 10 character .coms with 2 words are very less in number, but there are plenty of domain names in the aftermarket, which you can buy for $1,000 or $2,000, which I would recommend if someone is going to take their blogging journey very seriously. In terms of the amount of content that you publish, I think once per week is a pretty good place to start with.
Okay, brilliant. So once a week is a good place to start content. You can look at the expired or the domain after marketplace. There's a couple of places you can search for that, but less than 10 characters or 10 characters. The phone test, I like the phone test. It's a good trick there. It's a great insight. So guys, we have come to the end of our webinar. I've come up to the end of the hour. So where is the best place for anyone who's listening who doesn't know who you are until today? It's the best place to find you guys.
My blog, sanjayshenoy.com, and you can find me on Twitter at sanjayshenoy13 and on Instagram, sanjayshenoy_.
Brilliant. So guys, go ahead and Google Sanjay Shenoy. Go ahead and Google Digital Deepak. And guys, thank you so much for your time. I think the SEM Rush audience learned a lot. The members of your audience who came to just see you because they're fans of you learned a lot, and I learned a lot. So thank you so much. And guys, if you're watching, do go ahead and Google me as well, SEM Rush. You'll catch me on a series of webinars that we've got coming up. And I do think I'm going to get you guys back on because it does sound like you do a lot of stuff outside of SEO. So maybe we could have another conversation about another platform on another day.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Deepak. This was absolute lot of fun.
See you guys.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you, Sanjay. See you. Bye-bye.